For centuries, historians have blamed barbarian invasions, political corruption, and economic collapse for the fall of Rome. But what if the real cause was something far more insidious, something hidden in plain sight, a silent poison that spread through the veins of an empire, weakening it from within? At its height, Rome was unstoppable. Vast legions marched across continents, roads connected distant lands, and aqueducts carried life into cities of marble and stone. It was a civilization that seemed eternal. But beneath the surface, a subtle decay had already begun. Rome's elites lived in luxury. Banquets overflowed with exotic foods, wine flowed endlessly, and wealth was displayed without restraint. Yet this lifestyle carried an invisible cost. The Roman appetite for refinement introduced them to materials and practices that would quietly undermine their society. One of those materials was lead. To the Romans, lead was a miracle substance. It was easy to shape, resistant to corrosion, and widely available. They used it everywhere, in pipes that carried water, in cooking vessels, in cosmetics, and even in wine production. Sweetening wine with lead compounds became a common practice among the wealthy. At first glance, it seemed harmless. The water flowed, the wine tasted better, and daily life improved. But lead is a toxin, one that accumulates slowly in the body, damaging the cognitive decline, irritability, impaired judgment, and infertility. The very qualities required to sustain an empire, clarity, discipline, and strategic thinking, begin to erode. Imagine the ruling class of Rome unknowingly poisoning themselves over decades. Senators, generals, and emperors making decisions while their minds were subtly impaired, policies growing erratic, leadership becoming unstable. Historical records hint at this instability. Emperors who behaved irrationally, decisions that defied logic, and a political system increasingly plagued by chaos. While power struggles were nothing new, something had changed in the nature of leadership itself. The Roman aristocracy consumed the highest levels of lead. Their wealth gave them greater access to luxuries, fine wines, elaborate plumbing, and imported goods, all of which increased their exposure. Ironically, the most powerful individuals were also the most vulnerable. As generations passed, the effects compounded. Fertility rates among elites declined. Some families struggled to produce heirs. Others saw a rise in miscarriages and infant mortality. The continuity of leadership weakened. Meanwhile, the empire expanded beyond its ability to control. Borders stretched thin, requiring constant military presence. Resources were diverted, and internal cohesion began to falter. In the provinces, local populations observed the growing disconnect between Rome's image and its reality. The empire still projected strength, but cracks were visible. Corruption spread, loyalty diminished. Economic pressures mounted, currency was debased, inflation rose, and trade networks became unstable. These were visible symptoms, but beneath them lay a deeper vulnerability, one rooted in the decline of effective governance. The Roman military, once disciplined and formidable, began to change. Recruitment standards dropped. Loyalty shifted from the state to individual commanders. The cohesion that once defined the legions started to erode. At the same time, external threats intensified. Germanic tribes pressed against the borders, sensing weakness. Raids became more frequent. Defensive lines, once impenetrable, were now tested repeatedly. The empire responded, but often inconsistently. Strategic decisions lacked clarity. Some campaigns succeeded, others failed disastrously. The pattern suggested not just external pressure, but internal confusion. Within the imperial court, intrigue deepened. Assassinations, betrayals, and rapid changes in leadership became common. Stability, once the cornerstone of Roman power, disappeared. The question emerges, was this purely political decay, or was something influencing the minds of those in power? Lead poisoning does not act quickly. It is gradual, cumulative, and often invisible. Its victims rarely recognize its effects. Instead, they adapt to a slow decline, unaware of the cause. Archaeological studies have found elevated levels of lead in Roman remains. Analysis of ancient pipes and water systems confirms widespread contamination. The evidence aligns with what modern science understands about long-term exposure. Even Roman writings contain subtle clues. Complaints about declining morals, erratic leadership, and societal decay appear more frequently in later periods. Observers sensed that something was wrong, but they could not identify it. As the Western Roman Empire entered its final centuries, the convergence of factors became undeniable. Economic instability, military weakness, political chaos, and social fragmentation all intensified. In the year 410, the city of Rome was sacked by the Visigoths. It was a shock that echoed across the ancient world. The eternal city had fallen, something once thought impossible. Yet even this was not the end. The empire lingered, weakened but still standing. However, its ability to recover had diminished. Each crisis left deeper scars. By 476, the Western Roman Empire officially collapsed. The last emperor was deposed, and a new era began. The world that Rome had dominated for centuries was gone. Historians continued to debate the causes. No single factor can fully explain the fall. It was a complex interplay of forces, both external and internal. But the role of lead offers a compelling perspective, not as the sole cause, but as a silent amplifier, a factor that weakened the very individuals responsible for maintaining the empire. It is a reminder that civilizations are not only shaped by wars and politics, but also by the materials they use and the environments they create. Rome did not fall in a single moment. It declined slowly, almost imperceptibly, until the weight of its vulnerabilities became too great to bear. The irony is striking. The same innovations that symbolized Roman progress, its engineering, its infrastructure, its pursuit of comfort, may have contributed to its downfall. Today, the ruins of Rome stand as a testament to both its greatness and its fragility. Columns, roads, and aqueducts remain, silent witnesses to a civilization that once ruled the known world. The story of Rome is not just about the past. It is a warning, a reminder that even the most powerful systems can be undermined by forces they fail to understand. And sometimes, the greatest threats are not the ones at the gates, but the ones already inside.